My hat wire, and note this, I'm going to be adding 2 inches to my hat wire because I'll leave excess at the tip of the Bonny where I'm going to tie down my feathers. So I cut out 18 inches. Remember, the Bonny was 16 inches, so you will see how I'm going to join them together. So I cut out 6 pieces of that wire, and now I'm going to join the wire with the Bonny, leaving 1 inches at the end, 1 inches at both ends. So that's what I'll be doing. You keep it like this to make sure everything is equal. Once you get the equal measurements, you gum it down with your hot glue or whatever glue that you use, but I think hot glue gums it faster and better. So once I'm done with this stage, I'm going to be using these star feathers. If you have a fan feathers, because that's the feathers that they use in this design. So but I chose to use star feathers to see how it will be, if it will be beautiful. So get your feathers and then begin to tie it to the extra wire that you left, and tie it with your thread. Once you're done with that, we'll proceed and you will see the next thing that will be done. You tie one side, don't tie both sides, just tie one side as you see so in this video, and then we're going to wrap this Bonny and you'll see what will be done afterwards. So while putting these feathers, if you notice that your wire is still showing, just cover it up with the feathers as you see so. So after I was done with wrapping up that bunny, I'm going to be covering it up with this crinoline pipe. Okay. But this is optional. You can, if you are using a shiny this felt shiny bias, I don't think it's necessary to cover it up with this crinoline pipe. But that being said, this crinoline pipe just gives it a different look, and I think it makes everything neat and nice. But like I said, it's optional. That is optional. So once you put that crinoline to the end of the feathers you created at this other end as the first end, you either tie it down with a thread or you use your gum and hold it down just to make sure everything is flat at that place. Then you come to this end and cut the crinoline. Just cut it by you're going to wrap the wire now with the feather, so you just measure it and cut it in such a way that after adding your feathers, the crinoline will be enough to cover up the thread used in wrapping your feathers. So to me, that's the essence of using that crinoline pipe. It covers up the rough thread you use in wrapping your the feathers onto the wire. So I'm going to repeat the same process now. I'll put the feathers and wrap it up with thread, and once I'm done with that, I'm going to shift the crinoline up and gum it down. So keep on watching and learning. But like I said, if you are to use that shiny velvet bias, I think you can just decide to tie the feathers on both sides, and then you start wrapping it from where you tie the feathers. You wrap it to this other end. I think it's still nice that way. It's not a big deal to use the crinoline pipe, but then it gives it a nice look. So that's what I'll be doing to the rest of the Bonny, and then we'll move to the installation of this design. up your Alice band. So here I'm using Petersham, as I'm using a ribbon called Petersham. So you can decide to use whatever bias to wrap this up. Okay, so that's what I'll be doing. Once you're done with your design, make sure you curve it to give it that U shape, and then we'll move forward to the installation of this headpiece. So I have 6 pieces of these in total. I'm not going to do much talking with these. I'm just going to allow you to watch to see what was done here. So when you place your design, you lay it over. You lay it over like you're creating a channel design. Okay, so that's what you'll be doing. Take your time to do this. Once you're done placing it like this, you first of all hold it down with your hot glue, and then you begin to tie it with thread. Once you're done tying it, you now use a bias, the same bias that you use in wrapping your Alice band, so that everything will blend. Use that same bias to wrap it to hold it down. But if you don't have that same bias, you can use any bias of your choice. Okay, like I'll be using the bias of my choice here. So keep on watching from here and learning.